Hello everyone, welcome to TTV News with some latest events in the province. And now coming to details. Ladies and gentlemen, in the morning of November 7, at C51 Pace Thành Trung Hamlet, Thành Tây Commune, Tân Biên District, the National Risk Unity Days were held.
Ms. Nguyễn Đại Thi, member of Standing Committee of Provincial Party Committee, Standing Vice Chairwoman of Provincial Peace Council, and Colonel Lê Hồng Vương, commander of the Provincial Portugal Command, attended this event. Delegates reviewed the cultural tradition of the Vietnam Fatherland Front to mark the 92nd anniversary of the founding day of Vietnam National United Front, the traditional day of Vietnam Fatherland Front. Thành Tây Commune currently has 3,141 households with 11,715 people, with 8 ethnic minorities and 8 places of worship. There were 4 main religions including Buddhism, Catholicism, and Protestantism. In the past year, there have been many outstanding activities such as the Fund for the Poor has mobilized 208 million Vietnam dong, 3 houses of great solidarity, 1 charitable house, 1 house of military and people's retail, with a total amount of 345 million Vietnam dong. In addition, these advantaged households are supported with business capital. Primary school students of the 2022-2023 school year were awarded scholarships for students, bicycles, and health insurance for poor students in the commune. The movement to build cultural families and cultural hamlets has been widely deployed. The whole commune has over 94.45% of cultural families, 100% civilized religious belief-based. 5 out of 5 hamlets hold the title of cultural units for many consecutive years. On this occasion, Thành Tây Commune has rewarded many collectives and individuals of households that have won the title of cultural family, comprehensive typical family in 2022. At the same time, 25 gifts were given to disadvantaged families in Thành Tây Commune, with worth 500,000 Vietnam dong per each.
Over the past time, the Provincial Bank for Social Policy has implemented many policy credit programs with positive results. This helps to increase incomes and improve people's lives in Hoa Thanh Thao. This helps to raise incomes and improve people's lives in Hoa Thanh Thao. At the end of September 2022, Hoa Thanh Thao Bank for Social Policies has a total capital of nearly 300 billion Vietnam dong, an increase of more than 26 billion Vietnam dong over the same period. New loan turnovers in nearly 78 billion Vietnam dong, with nearly 2,520 borrowers. Debt collection reaches nearly 52 billion Vietnam dong. Up to now, the total outstanding loans through for social political organizations in the area is nearly 296.1 billion Vietnam dong, an increase of nearly 26 billion Vietnam dong compared to this early year. With nearly 12,000 customers taking loans at 286 organizations, savings and loans. The capital has supported timeless job creations for rural workers and students with difficult circumstances to purchase equipment and study expense, as well as clean waters and sanitation projects in rural areas. In the morning of November 7, 2022, the City Justice Department, in collaboration with the City Education and Training Department, to organize a propaganda sessions on prevention of drugs, HIV/AIDS, school violence, and warnings of forms of violence in cyberspace for more than 1,500 students and teachers in Chu Văn An Middle School.
The officers and soldiers of the city police provided many useful knowledge around issues, including laws on preventing and controlling drugs, HIV/AIDS in 2006, being amended and supplemented in 2020, school violence, specifically disseminating the harmful effects of drugs and currently drugs, how to prevent and avoid. In addition, students were also warned about forms of fraud in cyberspace. thereby helping teachers and students become more aware of the dangers of drugs to raise their vigilance further. In particular, students will know how to self-prevent so that, together with the school, they are determined not to allow drugs to enter the school, rightly identify and fight against harmful views on the cyberspace. This contributes to maintaining political stability and ensuring social order and safety.
The Study Promotion Association of Tây Ninh Province and Bến Cầu District, in collaboration with the People's Committee of Long Khánh Khmer and the sponsors, organized a ceremony to award 50 scholarships to study as students in Bến Cầu District in the mornings of November 5th. As the ceremony, Thiện Nhân Branch Ho Chi Minh City mobilized Sông Hồng Committee to sponsors and give 50 scholarships for students with extremely difficult circumstances who are studious in 5 Khmer, including Long Thuận, Long Khánh, Long Giang, Long Chữ, and Long Phước, with 1 million Vietnam dong for each. The total values is 50 million Vietnam dong. On this occasion, Ms. Trương Thị Thu Hà families born 1957 from a Bush household living in Long Châu Hamlet, Long Khánh Khmer, was awarded the charitable house with an area of 51 square meters, with the construction cost of 100 million Vietnam dong. Construction funding is supported by the following units: Sông Hồng Company support 50 million Vietnam dong, Bến Cầu District Study Promotion Associations mobilize 10 million Vietnam dong, Long Khánh Khmer People's Committee mobilize 30 million Vietnam dong, and 10 million Vietnam dong contributed by Ms. Hà families. The Provincial People's Committee has just requested departments, agencies, branches, and localities in the province to implement of the Prime Minister Directive No. 4, that's May 17, 2022, on urgent tasks and solutions to research-wide and migratory births in Vietnam, that's especially during the birth migration season from September to April every year.
Accordingly, the Provincial People's Committee assigned the Department of Natural Resources and Environment to assume the first responsibility for and collaboration with relevant departments, agencies, and sectors, and the People's Committees of districts, towns, and cities to continue performing a number of urgent tasks and solutions for the conservation of wild and migratory birds in Vietnam, such as not buying, selling, transporting, trading, storing, or illegally consuming wild and migratory birds, strictly comply with the provisions of the law on biodiversity conservation and a number of other related contents. In addition, formulating and organizing the implementation of the program on conservation of endangered species and rare wildlife is an issue of priority for protection. Focus on sport conservation, research on breeding, conservation, and re-release into the wild a number of endangered species and rare animal species. Priorities for protection, management, and protection of migratory wildlife, including the protection of habitats, transboundary migration routes, and their stopping points.
Ladies and gentlemen, according to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, from this year early until now, there have been 34 outbreaks of avian influenza in 19 provinces and cities that sparked the destructions of over 77,000 heads of poultry. Due to the total number of poultry in large, small-scale production still accounts for the majority, the veterinary hygiene requirements are not noticed. Many flocks of poultry have not been fully vaccinated, so the risk of disease breeding on large scale is still high exists. So the farmers need to be on high alert to continue to prevent avian influenza outbreaks from recurring. In 2021, Tây Ninh has only outbreaks of avian flu in small farming households in Thạnh Bình Khmer, Tân Biên districts, and they were controlled on time. Currently, the total poultry herds in Tây Ninh province is about 10 million heads, of which the number of small-scale poultry farms is still very large. The group is always closely monitored by the livestock and veterinary industry. Currently, Tân Châu district has a large poultry herd of 1.4 million heads. There are only 3 large poultry farms with a total of nearly 512,000 birds. The rest are raised by smallholder farmers. In order to prevent the recurrence of avian influenza, Tân Châu Animal Husbandry and Veterinary Station is forced to complete their duties. Specifically from the early years up to now, they have finished 2 rounds of avian flu vaccinations, conducting 3 rounds of disinfections with a total area of 2,180,000 square meters of barns, coordinating with local departments and agencies to mobilize farmers to perform in the best ways on the prevention and poultry disease in the whole area. The station has also worked with a number of traders who have activity to buy and sell poultry in the markets. They also have to sign commitments and buy chicken and dog from places with clear origin. Disinfections, avian influenza vaccinations must comply with the directive plans of the sub-departments of animal health. Due to the changing weather, it is recommended that people, when entering the new herd to raise, must have a quarantine period. This implies before releasing the seeds, full vaccinated as we rise, especially avian flu vaccines. Currently, poultry raising households have high awareness of disease prevention. Many households carry out livestock productions in directions of biosecurity, rapidly fight livestock risks that meet the needs of the markets with clear origins. For example, Mr. Nguyễn Năng Lân families in Tân Lợi Hamlet, Tân Phú Commune, Tân Châu districts currently raise 30,000 heads. He is applying a number of methods such as using biological bedding, take preventive measures, catching the risk, always follow the vaccination procedures guided by veterinary staff. The bands the regular disinfectants on a regular basis. More than 7 years of breeding, there has never been an epidemic. If we want chickens to be less sick, we have to have full vaccination process from small to large. In the barn, right house must be raised as a fillers, and monthly yeast must be raised so that it can decompose on its own. Disinfections, if it rains for many days, we have to raise lamb outside the barns. In winter, the big chickens are released outside because it can withstand the cold, whilst the small chickens are kept and covered around the curve. As the border province like Tây Ninh, there is always high risk of avian influenza outbreaks, said by Mr. Nguyễn Thành Thúc, Deputy Head of the Tây Ninh Sub-Department in charge of the Animal Husbandry and Veterinary Medicine. There is still breeding households have not met veterinary hygiene requirements and have not been fully vaccinated. Pathogens always exist in the breeding environments or the trade and transportation of poultry without quarantine. There are conditions for recurrence of the avian influenzas. Readers must pay attention to implement biosafety readings, vaccination works, vaccines that are effective against avian influenzas. In the province, there are effective vaccines for Rotations Highly, for type A, H5 and 1. Farmers can contact the veterinary departments for specific advice. Small poultry farms and households need to cooperate comprehensively with functional agencies actively organize readings in the directions of biosecurity, because this is also an effective disease prevention measure in livestock herds for effective economic development. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for TTV News today. Thanks for joining with us and see you next time.